This is how I built this fully custom visual Spotify controller for under $15. All you need to do is plug this thing into power and connect your Spotify account to it. It'll then be able to control whatever is playing on any device you have. You can use it to play and pause, like tracks, skip between tracks, and of course, adjust the volume. Because this connects over Wi-Fi, you can put this thing anywhere, whether that's your kitchen, your bedside table, or your desk, and control Spotify wherever it's playing. I'm going to show you exactly how I built this, but it's really important for you to mention that this is not my unique project. This project and all of the code and the idea was entirely done by Make It For Less on YouTube. Please subscribe to him on YouTube and follow him on TikTok. I'll have him down there in the description. Not only does this guy make incredible content that I almost promise you will love, but he's also just a really nice guy. He helped me a lot personally while building this project. Anyway, let's get building. So the project is all built around this thing. It's called an ESP8266. These are basically little microcontroller boards that you can program to do whatever you want. You can hook up all types of peripherals and buttons to them through these pins here. These are super popular for projects for two reasons. One, they're super cheap. They're like $3. And two, they have a Wi-Fi and Bluetooth chip on them, so you have wireless connectivity, which we're going to utilize for this project. I use these things all the time for smart home projects and pretty much anything, so I keep a large supply on hand. The other major part of the project was one of these TFT LED displays, and these are only about $8 a piece. First step was getting everything connected together for the first time, making sure it all worked. Then we had to upload Make It For Less's code to the board. Now, to explain the code really quickly, the code uses something called an API through Spotify. In really simple terms, an API is basically a script that companies give you as a developer that you can put in your app and use it to control their app. So the code uses Spotify's API in two ways. One is it basically just constantly asks Spotify, hey, what song is playing? And then whatever song is currently playing on Spotify, it's going to show it on the screen. The second one is just mapping button inputs to different API commands. So we have one button, we wire it to the board, and literally all we say is when we push that button, send an API command to Spotify to play and pause music. For the other button to like the music and skip, blah, blah. You get it. It's really that simple. It's actually not super simple. The code itself is actually pretty complicated and very well written, but in theory, that's all that's happening. Once I got everything up and running, I just had to put it all together. One of the things I did want to change was the aesthetics. Make It For Less had it on this development board with these little push buttons. Now, instead of using those little push buttons, I wanted to utilize these mechanical keyboard switches I had left over from a keyboard I built. I also had these funky little queer keycaps that go on top of them. I also wanted to build a nice little casing for it, but first I had to solder up all the parts. This was a little bit tedious, but I managed to get it all sorted. I wanted to 3D print the case, so I designed this case that goes together in two halves. The two halves are going to be joined by these threaded standoff pieces and tiny screws, which will sandwich them together and the electronics will sit in between. Next was just a matter of printing both of those pieces out. They came out really nice, actually. I was pretty happy with these. Just installing all the parts into them. You'll see I have the switches and screens here mounted on the front. Then it's just a matter of screwing into those standoffs into the back plate here. One of the other things I built into the case was this little slot here for an external USB-C port. This is so I can power the device without having to run a cable in between the sandwiched halves and kind of ruin the look. And with that, the project is done. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. You can see here on the side how it all fits together. You can see the parts sandwiched in between there. You can see the USB-C here with the cable. It bends up like this and sits really nicely flat on the desk here whenever you have it. It's got some hot glue on the bottom here just for grip, so when you push the buttons, it doesn't slide around. The knob is just so satisfying to turn and see the volume adjusted. I'm just super happy with how this thing turned out. Now, here's the funny thing about this project. I actually don't use Spotify. I had to make a Spotify account for the first time ever to test out this thing. I just saw the project, I saw the use case, and I couldn't not build this thing, and I'm so glad I did because it is so cool, and I think the design I implemented in actually turned out pretty clean. That being said, if you guys like this thing and these type of projects, let me know. I'd love to keep iterating on this thing just for fun. I'd love to use my CNC machine to build a little bit of a cleaner case. I think I can make this thing look really, really dope if I put some more time into it. So yeah, let me know if you guys enjoyed that video. That was a lot of fun. Thank you, Make It For Less, for making this project. Like I said, please check him out down there. I'll link his account down at the bottom. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate every single one of you, and I'll catch you in the next video.